Sweet. Well, we started the video off with some donuts and cracking open a can. Welcome to, is it 6? Episode 6 of the Prostreet Talk Podcast. We're here at the latest and greatest Allsparks facility here in, what's the street here called?
Beckett Avenue, mate.
Yep, down in Keilor Park, just off Slater Parade. We've got
East.
Troy Seguna.
Keilor East, mate.
Keilor East. So,
Right.
Actually, it is on the maps. It says Kilo East.
yeah. So we've got Frank, and then we've obviously got Troy with us as well. Troy's crowd-sucking Lightning McQueen is behind us.
McQueen, mate.
It's bolted up to the hub dyno as well. And yeah, so obviously we've got Amph in the seat to the left as well. So welcome. Thank you for having us here and for another episode. So what kicked it all off?
Oh, well, like most mechanics, mate, started in the backyard. Worked, out of my brother-in-law's garage for, I think, about a year until the neighbours kicked us out. And, basically opened the shop up in 2002.
Yep.
We weren't doing dyno pulls in the garage.
Nah, down the street, basically. So,
What's crazy is he's the name of the shop, how it all started. It's Allsparks, people think auto elec.
Well,
It actually was.
It was an
What's
auto
the original auto?
Yeah, so my brother-in-law was an mobile auto electrician. And then, I sort of came into the business with him, started doing a bit of, normal general work, and then the performance stuff was always there. And it took off to the point where we couldn't fit cars in the driveway, working all night and, revving cars and neighbours cracking the shit. So,
And what year was that?
well, it'd be like 2001, I reckon.
Were you born then?
2001.
No, it was not.
2001, and then basically from there started to looking for a factory and moved in literally across the road, number 5, Beckett Avenue, in 2002, and it kicked off from there. Me and my brother-in-law, he doing the auto elec and me doing mechanical. Started going hard there, and then basically he got out of the business for maybe 3 years into it. He had enough. He was burnt out,
Business?
He left the business, and I made the decision to keep going, and here I am, man. So,
Another
basically
25 years later
yeah, man.
from that?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
And how does Troy fit into the picture?
Oh, mate. So, how do we start?
Well, you guys see
yourself.
you guys see each other more than the
in the
missus.
drift world.
Yeah, so basically I started tuning, I was tuning cars by then. I had my own dyno and all that stuff, and Troy had built a couple of cars from home. I was tuning those cars, and those boys brought Troy over because he was having dramas with tuners at the time, and I guess the rest is history, yeah?
Yeah, well, man, I have to say though, the first experience with Frank was unreal. It was unreal. Like he goes, all right, bring the car. The boys that I was hanging out with at the time, they brought my car here. They went and picked up an ECU that Frank would tune because Frank wouldn't tune his tune at the time, and got on the dyno. The ECU didn't work. I was like, oh no, what are we gonna do? And then Frank goes, you know what? I got someone who has a Microtech and a patch loom, and called him on the spot, and he came and wired it in on the spot. That was Mastro.
Mastro, yeah.
Had it tuned, done, the whole thing done. I went home, put the cage in, and we made it to the tractor.
Is that what tractor? Because people won't know. Me and you have known each other for actually a long time, back in the Winton days. And what car are we talking about?
So I had a Sil 80.
Yep.
That I put a fresh motor in.
RB or still SR?
No, this was before I was playing with RBs. It was all SR, and I had it at another tuner. Actually, it's funny because I'm remembering now that I had it at another tuner's. He goes, yeah, I can tune your niche tune, no problem. I stayed there a month, didn't touch it. Told me he was playing with it, but he never touched it. And then the boys go to Frank, trust me, everything will work out how you want. I go, oh, sweet, all right. And it did, it worked out. Then we obviously got to know each other. Frank loved staying back, so I remember standing at the roller door and we just got to know each other, and we were having chit chats, and it was just love at first sight.
Pretty much.
That was a solid, I'd have to say 12 years ago.
Yeah.
And ever since I've never left. We've just had a good relationship, always talking. When I've been between jobs and done lots of different things, and we just got along. It just made it easy.
Were you always doing the SR stuff and RB stuff?
Oh, look, obviously my background was RB, my brothers having VLs and stuff like that in the early days. But at the time, all the RB stuff, all the SR stuff, then we started playing with the LSs when they started hitting hard, and all the barras and everything else in between, I guess. So, but yeah, at the time, like I said, I had a lot of good teachers at the time that sort of guided me but never taught me, because it was, I don't know, at the time was something that people didn't like to teach people to do.
Yeah, it was all secret.
Yeah, very secretive, I guess. I don't know if that's what you want to call it, but late nights is when I used to learn and tinker, and Troy stuff we used to play with, and
I didn't realise
then
until
E85 came into the world, and I started playing with that and changed the whole.
That changed everyone's
That changed
world.
everybody's world.
So you're pretty much self-taught on the shooting.
Pretty much, man. Yeah, like I said, I had a lot of good people that I asked that were no bullshit, would tell me the truth, and if I'm doing something wrong, and then like everyone, blow stuff up and go, "Ooh, okay, that wasn't right," and give it another crack. And I was always lucky. I was always humble with the people that I was working with, Troy and other people that, look, man, we haven't done this, we haven't gone this far yet. Let's see what happens. And
we actually never blew anything of mine.
Yeah.
Like nothing catastrophic. It was
Yeah.
probably me. I was screwing together second-hand bottom ends.
yeah,
Yeah, but
Kinder
you got
surprise. Yeah.
drifting with them as well.
Oh man,
Well,
we
that too, yeah.
gave him hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of customers in the drag scene who, didn't have a lot of money, so we were always mending parts and trying to make,
make
strawberry jam out of crap,
Literally.
And look, it taught me a lot of stuff doing it the hard way,
Yeah.
that now I still use these, now, but obviously, we don't do that anymore, because it's just, it's catastrophic. Well, the power that people want, you just can't do,
So obviously, when you started the shop, Jesse wasn't even
I wasn't born yet.
If
Yeah.
you lived out in the western suburbs,
Yep.
there wasn't a car that you would have said that didn't have an Allsparks sticker on it. Like
Yeah.
whether it had a door banner on it, a little sticker on the back. And my memory would be probably Chris Tandy, VY SSO4.
Yeah.
And
He's still got it.
Still got it,
Still
yeah.
got that.
Yeah.
I was actually speaking to him the other day. I got
Yeah.
some photos. We can whack up some photos.
Yeah.
And I believe his brother's car, Ash, just
Ash
recently got
Tandy's.
completed.
Yeah, he's VN, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
What's gone into that?
that's got a Flowcraft 408 in it, iron block. It's got a 2650 Harrop on it, power glide, and it's got a full PSI up rear end in it now. Pretty serious car, so can't wait to take that out now and see what it does. But he's got that. He's still got his original VY Clubby. Yeah, it's a tough car, man. He's done really well, and
I've
those
just
two boys.
what car you're talking about now.
Yeah.
I've just jerried it.
Yeah, big tyre. It's got a 315 on the back.
It's got the
so
welds,
that's it,
cow
yeah.
scoop on it.
Yeah,
You
it's
said
got that on
silver
it.
and colour.
Serious
Yeah.
car.
Hey, your phone keeps going off. Fuck. Working after hours.
Mate.
This is what happens when you give all your customers your phone number.
Yeah, your
I met him for
personal
2 minutes back in the day, and he rings me. Hey, I heard your head gasket might have gone. I'm like, yeah, it did. I go, but it was me. It was a torque wrench. He's
Yeah.
like, oh, and then he's just sitting there working through it with me to try and figure it out.
Yeah.
What a tuner.
So,
Yeah.
as you were saying, you start off in the garage, your
Yeah.
brother-in-law's,
Yeah.
your father-in-law's garage.
My
sorry?
brother-in-law's
Brother-in-law?
garage, his parents' house,
And then
Apple West.
the neighbours were complaining. What was the first big step of you getting your factory? Because I believe
Well, basically the neighbours.
the neighbours.
Yeah,
and
the neighbours and his mum, or his parents. It wasn't fair on them either. And look, it was getting full on. Like, we'll
What are
take
we
it. We'll
talking?
take.
One car in, one car out. Like,
Nah, well, it was meant to be,
Yeah.
but no, it didn't. And then, like, obviously, a mate brings a car, then another mate brings a car, and all of a sudden you've got 4 hotties in there. You can only fit 3 in the garage, so you're blocking cars into. And it was mayhem.
Yeah.
And everything was loud, and a lot of V8s back then, and so.
And then you moved into a crossroad
Yeah.
from where we are.
Yeah, so number 5.
Yep.
Moved in there, which was my brother-in-law's uncle's, workshop, or I shouldn't say workshop, factory. Moved in there. We thought, first workshop. It's a shoebox, but back then it was huge, coming from a single car garage, so.
And did you have a dyno in there at all?
Never.
Yeah.
No dyno. So back then I was using, Racecraft Industries, Alex. I was using his dyno. He was one of my mentors. I could say that now. He was somebody who taught me a lot. Never really had used a dyno before then. Obviously, back early days, Brashani and stuff like that, I was always a young guy kicking around and see my brother's cars and stuff, go through different, builds, but doing my own stuff, So Alex from Racecraft, there was another little workshop around here who had a dyno. We used to use as well. But yeah, no, I never had a dyno in there. Then I moved into 2 Beckett Avenue, which is next door to us now.
How long ago was that from moving from the old shop?
I was trying to work it out. I think I was there 3 or 4 years in number 5.
Yep.
And then moved into the big shop, which we thought, oh my God, you know, it's huge.
So we're talking about 2005 now, maybe?
Yeah, 2005 and 6.
2001?
2002. Yeah, was when we started officially. I was 19. So yeah, 19.
And the name was always Allsparks?
Yeah, it was Allsparks Auto Electrician, and then it was just Allsparks Automotive.
Yep.
And then the performance just sort of slid into it when it went from servicing cars to doing builds, you know. So, and then basically moved into the big shop. I think 2012 or 13, I bought the dyno, my own dyno. So
And that was a roller to initially
yeah,
start?
roller, yeah, single
you've
retarder.
Remember the first car that ever went on that?
I've actually got a picture of it. I think it was.
Ignore the air compressor.
Jeez. Rude.
That's
You know,
Frank's
I can't
brain
remember now. I do have a picture of it because I remember it was brand new, you know, and back the car on there. And yeah, that's pretty much, that almost ended my marriage, that dyno, because that's how I used to sleep here. So, you know, but, you know, as much as it, you know, it was a burden, it taught me a lot, you know. So, yeah, during the day, obviously working, and then at night, keep working, basically, you know, and 3, 4 o'clock in the morning and go into the racetrack, and then, oh, that didn't work, come back and try something else, and oh yeah, that worked. And you know, it was I didn't treat it as a business then. I was young, you know, so it was basically,
you're frothing.
yeah,
You're loving
you
what
know,
you're doing.
doing it for like,
So what are we talking about back then? Like what power figures were we like?
oh man, when you crack 300 kilowatts, 350 kilowatt, you were king,
Bro,
man.
you should have
Yeah.
seen us and the boys, man,
Yeah.
when we cracked our first 300 kilowatt.
Yeah,
We're
you know,
freaking out.
you know.
Cars are rolling 300 kilowatt now.
Yeah, like on a roller dyno, you
Problem
know,
was,
definitely, you
that
know.
was quick.
Yeah, it is.
It was
but-
quick.
Man, that was still
300
early days pump fuel, yeah. So,
Yeah.
you know, anyone like, yeah, we had a couple of VLs, yeah, Highway F18, Steph's VL and stuff like back then. We were on C16, you know, because there was no ethanol was there, but no one really had dabbled yet.
Like, when did they start introducing all like the ethanol, say United and stuff like that?
Well,
you know?
yeah, it was United and Caltex.
Yeah,
had
Caltex did it
had
as
it for a
well.
little bit.
But they didn't last long.
Yeah, and we just, you know, oh, what's this ethanol? You know, we all thinking it's methanol, and I don't know, it's scary. So we kept using our leaded fuel stuff, C16 and VP race fuel and all that stuff for a while, and then it's like, let's try this. It was cheap, and you know, I'd started seeing a lot of guys, and I still remember the phone call I made. I made it to Robbie at Created Motorsports. He had tuned an Evo with E85, and you know, Rob was always pretty straightforward with me, and I just asked him, I said, "Look, Rob, what's the go with it?" He goes, "Frank, just treat it like pump fuel. Obviously, you know, your storage and all that's different, but basically don't be shy with timing." And oh, here we go, you know. And yeah, started, and man, I think we did your KE.
My K70 was the
Yeah,
first
with a
ethanol car I
Microtech
ever
in it.
done.
Tuned the car off all the air fuel ratio, left the timing where it was, and then just started adding.
Is that the one that got written off?
No, it didn't.
No.
No, I ended up selling it. It was the first. What was it? I had an SR sitting there. Actually, it was out of my C80, my first drift car that I had him tune. And then I'm like, I remember it making 260 kilowatt on 98, and I remember complaining about it. Like, it doesn't really like rip, like in a KE70. We put it on ethanol. I go, you want to try it? Yeah, for sure. Let's try it. Put it in. Didn't change the boost. He done the air fuel ratio. I remember I think it only picked up 20 kilowatt. So I went 280 kilowatt. It was like 19 pound with a TD06. And I remember driving it down here, and I was blown away. I go, what did you do different? He goes, well, when the boost come in on 98, I'd pull timing out and then roll it back in. He goes, this time I left it all in. Yeah, holy crap. And this was like, this was early days before we even started adding timing everywhere. And I couldn't believe it. It actually blew my mind. I went 280 kilowatt, 19 pound. I go, the car just...
And the plug reads was completely different. So you know, everything you learn with pump fuel had changed with ethanol. But
it was actually
like I said,
mind-blowing on how it
it was
behaved.
crazy. And then
So is it actually safer? Is it that myth of E85 is safer? That's
million
the
percent.
knock barrier is just
yeah. Like even you as a tuner, like you could sit there and.
Yeah, well, obviously you still need a fuel system to compensate, and and a decent computer where the timing doesn't jump around. But realistically, mate, it got to a point where I was that confident that I would tune the car and let the customer do the timing. Like there was at that power level, it was like, man, it wouldn't blow up.
Yeah.
Say now.
A perfect example was when we went drag racing. You put 24 degrees in it.
Yeah.
And
got to a point where
still
it laid over
it never
in
broke.
power, but didn't detonate. It
didn't
just laid
break.
over.
So talk about degrees, people that don't know. On average, one say, what would a car usually be, about 18?
Yeah, 20, 16, 8, depending what boost you got and the compression. There's a lot of factors now, but
Just talk your
then,
average 300 kilowatt car,
Yeah.
SR20,
About
RB.
16 to 18?
16, 18.
Yeah.
And you decided to whack 24.
We put 20. I said to Frank at this point, because this motor had done work.
Yeah.
I go, Frank, let's crank it.
See what
I
happens.
want to, because at this point with 22 pound TC7, it went 1080 at 126 mile an hour. We brought it in. I go, give it kill. I remember you did 25 pound, 24 degrees timing right at the tip top. I didn't ET better, but it went 130 something mile an hour. It picked up mega mile an hour. The car
So 10 to 130,
10.8.
10
Sorry.
8 at 130.
130.
Yeah.
So
I don't-
mile per hour, that's a low. That's a high 10.
Yeah.
That's a high 9, sorry.
I remember this is all in drift setup.
Yeah,
drift
no, that
suspension,
was
there
literally weekend before I did drift attack. All car was all sticking
Friday
up.
night at Calder.
Yeah.
I remember that night.
Yeah, I drove it there,
Yeah.
and I drove it home, and it ran 10.8 like 2 or 3 times.
This is from cars that used to run, 12s to jump straight to a 10.
Yeah.
It was huge,
Yeah, because you would have, what was your 60 foot? You'd probably do like.
No, it was 1.5 every time.
Yeah.
No, 1.5.
1.5 every
Yeah.
time. I got the slips.
He
It's even on
he
you.
could drive back then. He could drive back then.
Yeah, now I'm a little girl. Now I'm a little girl.
It happens when you have kids.
Yeah.
Trust me,
Exactly
I
right.
swear to it, until you have kids, you don't know.
Yeah.
So you actually really reckon you've lost it?
Nah. Nah. We went out recently, and it's funny because I thought the car was so much faster. And then Frank goes, trust me, I think it's exactly the same. I'm like, nah, Frank, the car is faster. I found the slips, the car was not faster. It was exactly the same.
Well, while we're on this, we'll get back to what you were saying. We're going to talk about how you managed to get your old man into a drift car, because I remember that from a young age. How old was your old man when you decided to black him into it? He had an S13.
Yeah, he had
Calder.
Yeah, we built him an S13. This was when like S13 shells were like $500.
Yeah, we're not worth nothing.
It was mad. I remember I had a mate. We used to call him Janye. He had a car there, and he's like, oh, it's just a spare car, you want to buy it? I'm like, yeah, sweet. Bought the car. I had a friend, Tristan, who I think you all knew Tristan.
We all know Tristan.
We all know Tristan. And he had a running gear out of his 180. Frank, I think you tuned that as well.
RB25, yeah.
No, this was SR before it was SR.
Okay, yeah.
It was just a TD05 stock SR and whacked it in and 190 kilowatt. Man, that car did track day after track day after track day
You
after
used to
track
link the
day.
whole bend and all that. Like,
No worries.
At one stage, I remember your old man was actually getting the hang of it.
He was
Like,
getting good at it, yeah. I think Dad was just keen on just hanging out with the boys.
Yeah.
Like,
Reliving his youth.
yeah, having fun. We built it cheap. It was fun. It was when, like, man, under 10 grand, you had a weapon.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, I remember all the boys used to hang out at night, and Dad was with us, talking shit, we were bagging him, and he was bagging us, and it was just great.
I guess and that's a memory that you could.
Yeah, we'll never forget it. And then we convinced him to go the RB route, and that was fun too. And we made actually good power, but I think the motor was really, really tired.
So the RB winning the S13.
Yeah, went in the S13, and then he actually ended up crashing it. Then I had it all pulled straight, and then we actually used that car as a comp car. That's how the car rode off. I remember Clint destroyed it. Clint destroyed it on a drift attack and rode it off. We had to reshell it.
Yeah, nice.
That was fun. But again, it's a cool memory.
And I believe your old man now owns a 31 wagon.
Yeah.
Which is ran 9s.
Yeah, so that PB'd, it's crazy. We've never been able to PB the car with more power, but we've done a lot of different racing with that car, and it went a 960, 144 with a 500 kilowatt.
And is that the day the tailgate touched the floor? At
Tailgate.
Calder? There was one time at Calder, you were driving the car.
Probably would have been, because that's probably when it PB.
Yeah.
That's when they had the old suspension in
You
it.
did one pass and the thing literally it didn't. I don't think the car actually moved off the line. It just went up. You don't remember that?
No. I don't remember ever doing that. Maybe with the stock suspension, it might have done that. I don't pay attention. I'm weird with that sort of stuff. But no, I remember that the first time I ever drove that, I almost rode the bloody thing off. But then the second time we went out, it ended up being killer. I went 960, 144, and then
The car was that dial. That it was the car that when something like Troy's got his 180 and all the other cars, but when they weren't ready, we would take that car.
And we're talking like you went 960. That was about 10 years ago.
you know what? That was legit.
Probably
When I worked for you last,
6, 7 years ago.
man, that was like 8 years ago.
8 years ago.
Oh,
Yeah.
so
Really
close.
It's crazy to
Close.
think that it was 10 years because it doesn't feel like 10 years to me,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it actually really was.
Yeah.
That was all that
that's
was a built bottom end, but with secondhand rods, pistons, and a standard Neo head.
Turbo.
And it was just it was Gordy's truck
Yeah,
42.
4202, brand new turbo, but very old.
A very old.
Cast wheel.
Yeah.
Threw it on there.
And
Make
that's
it
the
work.
setup that's in it at the moment.
At the moment, it's
Got a little bit more.
a burger with the lot. I took the tomato out though because I don't like that. And it gave us hell. The last engine combo has given us hell, but I've just got it running good now because we did some weird shit we probably shouldn't have done in the head. It was through COVID we were doing it because we were bored. Like the head was done. I could have put the motor in. I'm like, I was talking to Horsepower Junkie. I go, hey, we want to put GTR cams in it because I want it to chop and sound pretty wicked. And he goes, yeah, we can put this sleeves in, big cams,
So we're talking about GTR cams in 25.
Neo head,
yeah.
yeah, but like big 288, 292,
Yeah.
big boys.
Yeah.
And then I had nothing troubles with the VCT and
Should have just put a 26 head on it, like realistically, but
Just put a single cam in there.
wow.
no,
They come out with single cam.
Yeah.
they
Should
did.
have been.
That was the best thing I ever did was go.
Well, while we're on that,
Here we go.
would you put a twin cam in a VR?
Hey, oh, here we go.
Here we go. This is where the topic
I've
starts.
got both in the family, so it's hard. Look,
I'm not even going to ask you, so don't even worry about your answer.
look. I know you're a single cam guy, and I am too. I'm building one for myself,
I'm not a
but
single cam guy. It's just they've got a place.
yeah, 100%.
They've got a
No,
plan.
fair
It's
enough.
just the
VLs
principle.
did come out single cam, and yeah, they look weird with twins in there, but for power, you can't beat it. Like I'm in the dyno, and
Can you button out? Technology's come a long way.
they have, but
No way.
man, what these
way.
new cylinder heads are doing, like the flow rates are crazy, but
The billet ones.
yeah,
Yeah.
but not everyone's got that sort of money either, you know. So
You have to be realistic.
you know,
Oh.
yeah. So
We're gonna be
something you
like
can buy
Bring us back
from
down to
Nissan.
Melbourne
Yeah, man.
level.
And
Melbourne
bolt it
level,
on and
not
go.
Sydney level.
Yeah.
I wish we were at
But
Sydney level, but
What's that? With Sydney level?
Sydney level.
We're
Three-
gonna come back down to Melbourne level talking about billet heads and stuff like
Yeah,
that. We don't
yeah.
have that here.
We don't
We
have
that
billet money here.
privilege.
Yeah.
Only people who own shops have billet
Yeah.
heads.
Yeah.
Not even.
Not even. Trust
You
me.
got a cast forklift head in there, mate.
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
And obviously, your answer is you'll chuck a twin cam in whatever you can.
Well, he built a single cam.
Yeah, well,
first.
my, because I had my own 31, and I kept a single cam, and I actually liked it, but I didn't. I did something a bit different. I went old school. I put a Hypertech piston, low comp, but I used a max speeding H-beam rod.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
Brother, I'm not gonna say it, but they actually clearanced up amazing. They clearanced up amazing. They were so consistent. You know, at the end of the day, it is a H-beam. It's a small H-beam. We know what stock 30 rods can do. We've all seen it. 400 plus kilowatt. I put a JW2 cam that Tristan Shaw gave me. I was like, tough. I love it when he gives me free shit. put a crow valve. They were $150 valve strings. Man, the thing went 300 kilowatt through the standard auto with a 3076 turbo.
And you raced it?
No.
No.
I had
Jack,
crashed
they wouldn't last long enough to race
unfortunately, we all had to quit Project Performance. That's another topic we can
Yep.
get on that a bit later. And I had to sell the car. I needed the money. And I'm actually spewing about selling that car because he laughs at me because I always carry on about how much I love the car.
Is it still around? Like who?
Yeah, actually one of his customers has got it, but he's done nothing with it.
That's like full nano spec looking that one.
Yeah.
The two tone.
Still had the hubcaps on, I think.
Oh yeah, it did actually.
Did you lose a hubcap or two driving that?
No, I didn't.
didn't.
No, I didn't.
The Jacko didn't last long enough for it to lose a
Oh,
hubcap.
it went through 3 autos, man.
That's no wonder the head lasted in that thing.
Yeah, well, that's true. Nah, 31's
The
like
reason
that
why
problem.
everything else lasted is because the jack codes didn't. That's
Exactly
why.
right.
So you would put a twin cam in a VR?
I think I could.
That's dumb shit.
He'd honestly pull the running gear out of that and put an all-wheel drive conversion.
We've had the
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah.
It's been done. We've spoken
It's
about it
been
before.
done. Well, there's been two cars. There's that
JDR
walkie.
running gear in a VR.
There's that VLR, which is the walkie, and then there's that other one, which looks like a director, like a Calais.
Yeah, but that was real. Yeah,
That was the early one. Then
Yeah.
there's someone that's done it later on down the track too.
Well,
they had a
well,
Gibson Motorsport running gear in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
well, might as well keep talking about the shop. We'll go back to that. We're
Yeah.
jumping all over the joint.
Yeah.
So that
Yep.
was. So you've pretty much had a dyno now for about 20 years.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you look at it that way, yeah, 100%. Feels like yesterday, but
And
Yeah.
now you've moved from outgrown the other shop.
yeah. So number 5, and well, lucky enough, finally tried to run the business as a business, and been lucky enough to be able to purchase where we're sitting now. So now we're in number 4, Beckett Avenue, which is right next door to the old shop.
Because you've purchased it, you went all out.
We did. Yeah.
You wanted
yeah,
to do a shop. You wanted to do it right.
Well,
and
that's it.
once.
All the stuff that we learned over the years, and we tried to input. Troy had input, and Manny had input, and my wife was the biggest input because she'd pretty much done it all while we
pretty
kept
much did
working.
everything
So
while we
I've got to
worked,
give her a
yeah.
shout out because if it wasn't for her, then
So we're talking 5 hoists.
yep,
Yep.
yep,
You got your fab hoist, which they could probably just see,
yep,
and then the rest just for.
yep, whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, anything and everything.
How long was this shop in the works for?
Fuck, you did it
Realistically,
quick.
not
Jeez.
very long. So it 3 to 4 months to get it
And
to,
you're
for us
still
to move
at
in.
next door.
We're still
during
next
the same
door.
time?
And then decking this out with a lot of help from heaps of
Yeah.
friends.
This
you know.
happened by luck. This
It
was
did, yeah. This sort
fully
of
by
fell
luck.
it sort of fell into our lap,
I reckon Rocky's got competition with the cleanest floor.
Yeah, I reckon we got like.
The trick is the
runner-up
flake,
all
man.
winner.
I tell you what,
Yeah.
you could throw dirt on the flake and you still don't see it.
Yeah.
It's unreal. Drop a
And-
bolt, can't see it.
Now you got 2 dynos.
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, the 2-wheel dyno that I used to have next door is still in there, but now it's a 4-wheel. So that's been upgraded. It's in ground. So that's dyno room 1. So 4-wheel drive, everything we can do there, and then dyno room 2, we've got our hub now. So
On that, so say like we've got Troy's car in the background,
Yep.
and that I believe has just done a pull. Can we talk about the?
if Troy's
Yeah,
happy
it's
to,
made.
yeah.
Shit,
we,
go for it, man.
yeah.
So what's it? I heard it's got 54 pound.
57.
Jammed down the throat.
I said to
Yeah.
Frank, I go, you got a limit, it's £55.
So he puts 57.
Yeah, well, got a little bit carried away, but
Hey, between mates,
You
who
know.
cares, yeah?
And what power did that make on 57?
What did we make? 1028 or something?
yeah, made just under 1,030 kilowatts.
So why-
full power glide. So
Why I'm
Pretty
asking
happy.
that is because obviously a big power car like that is more better on a hub dyno.
100%, yeah.
But
Oh,
being
yeah.
4-wheel drive,
Yeah.
is that worth giving you a hit on a 4-wheel drive dyno as well on the rollers? For
Look,
people who don't know?
Yes, for a number,
Yeah.
but these days we can get them that well experience, I guess.
I was going to say
ticks
the
on us, but
experience definitely is
with
where he's learned.
learning, going to the track, looking at logs and going, oh, I'd never seen that on the dyno. Now I can put that into and just doing it in 2-wheel drive and have the car pretty much 98% dialed when they let go of the trans brake. Yeah,
A 57 pound and made a 1,030 kilowatt.
Yeah.
So that'd be up there with some of the high power cars you've done on the dyno here.
Yeah, pretty much here, yes.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, 'cause
just
it's-
in general in your tuning.
In
days and stuff
general,
like
In
that.
general,
I'm gonna
I
touch,
think-
I just got to say it. What's the highest power you've made on RB?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that'd
That's
be
it.
the
We
one.
came, we did one not long ago for JMA that made, I think, 18 kilowatts less.
Is that blue 34?
The blue 34,
That
yeah.
fits.
Man,
yeah,
that is such
yeah,
a tough.
yeah.
Is that
Beautiful.
JDR would have been up there that I had as well? Because you tuned that.
Yeah, that made 910
Horsepower?
manual, yeah.
And all
Remember,
these
all these cars are all auto.
We're talking
yeah.
a kilowatt, bro.
You talk about kilowatt.
We're talking
kilowatt,
kilowatt.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Brother.
Yeah, we're kind of close. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
Man, that's like,
yeah.
what do
power
we make?
figures.
1,400 horsepower.
Yeah, made, it's on there, it's on the windscreen.
I don't even know
13.
how I'm going to drive that, bro.
It's like if you were like comparing grams to kilos. It's like,
Yeah.
fuck.
I was up there. Hang on a minute. That's 2.6, man. That's a 3.2 with a
But remember,
47.
that's through Like this car's got a power glide.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
auto
That
as
other
well.
car, so through an order, that robs you a fair bit with the converter in there. Especially these things, you got to run a loose converter in them because they won't do
Won't come
anything
up.
otherwise. So, look, there's
So power for you, but so 8 RBs, everything. That's the most power.
no, just
No,
RB.
Just RB.
Yeah.
Yeah, cast RB, cast head, cast block. That's it.
Get any bullets come through the door?
Not yet. No,
No.
we've got one. Well, John JMA's built one. I'm not
Yeah.
sure if
that
that's
the
meant to
one?
be out of if that's a secret or not, but it's out there now. He's built a 2.6. Well, Johnny had the record. Well, he still does have the record for 2.6 of standard crank, and now he's built a billet 2.6.
They went at 820.
820, yeah, 2.6.
that's moving,
05U
man.
block.
And that's
standard.
the white 32 we're talking about.
Yes, the
Yeah.
JMA one, JMA GTR. Yeah.
That was the 42 too.
Nah, 45.
Oh, it was a
Yeah,
45.
yeah.
So what turbo are you running?
That's a
47?
47.
I was
With
going to
that.
say it looks a bit bigger than a 45.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's
T3 high
what do they call it? It's a GDX 47.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Oh,
47.
wait, maybe or something. Yeah.
It's an 88 mil front. It was the
Yeah.
biggest one of the 47 of the time.
Yeah.
I bought that turbo. Man, that car took 5 years to build, man.
I couldn't imagine. This is what Rocky said as well, word for word. I couldn't imagine the swear words coming out of your mouth building that thing. Holy shit!
I tell you what, when
think
you
Troy
do
laughed at that
something
comment, so-
over a really long time, you don't have time to even think about being angry at the build being hard because you have time. Because I had the time, it was okay.
If it got too hard, you just leave it. Let it sit there for a week and then
come
go back
and
to it.
play
Just
again.
come back when you're not pissed off at it.
Yeah.
But a lot of the hardest part with that car was figuring out what front knuckle I'm going to use. Because I said to myself, I'm not putting GTR strut towers in this car. I don't have the ability to swap out 33 or 32 GTR strut towers and all that jazz. So I'm like, how am I going to do this? I knew there was a couple of guys out there who had done it. I did reach out, but like anything, if someone reaches out and you have no idea who they are, they're not going to tell you nothing.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them. Like, I don't blame them.
But
So
you make your own knuckles.
I did. So I dabbled with making lots of drift knuckles back in the day. So I was like, how hard could it be? It's a Nissan. Lots of parts interchange. So me and my friend Logan, I go, hey, you want to come with me down to pick apart? He goes, yeah, sweet, man. I took an axle and a caliper from a GTR and a strut. I go, we'll just go play with a few different cars.
And what did you match it up to?
Nissan Maxima.
Yeah.
I can't tell you the exact model. I
I'm
can't
gonna
remember.
start flipping GTR brakes and just start saying
The problem with that was I still had to modify the pickup of the arm because it was front wheel drive. The rack on the Maxima was up on the firewall, so the pickup was really, really high, and I had to bring it really, really low where the ball joint was. Otherwise, the steering rack just wouldn't work. But the best part about that particular knuckle was the drive shaft fit straight through, perfect spline.
Yeah.
The brakes bolted straight up. I was like, mate, this is Mickey. I got the strut, perfect bolt pattern. I go, this is crazy. The only downside was the LCA with low control arm on a GTR was they had a what were they? They were an eyelet, so a single bolt or a ball joint that goes in, and that knuckle was a ball joint. So I'm like, how am I going to adapt this? This is ball joint. So I go, you know what? I'm just gonna get the grinder out. I cut the end off. I lathed up a ring and I stuck a factory S13 ball joint through it. Bang! Fit the knuckle.
So is that when all your knuckles started back in the drift day?
No, this was way after.
No, this was
So
He used the knowledge from the
yeah, well,
days.
if I hadn't played around with drift knuckles, I would have never even thought, because I had to modify the steering arm. So I jigged up S13 knuckles, factory pickup, and then I cut up the Maxima ones, bolted it in, and welded it all up. And I'm like, oh, there we go.
So while we're on it, so what's it got? So GTR transfer case?
So it's GTR transfer case with an MV Automatics adapter. I don't know what you call it. It's the adapter from transfer case to Power Glide.
Yeah, billet.
And then I use their
Block.
planetary gear set output shaft setup, and that's what it literally all bolted up. So I treated the car like a GTR. So the biggest thing with that is I had to put a transfer case floor pan in it, and I wanted to put GTR rails in it because I wanted the relief for the drive shaft, and I wanted people to get under the car and go, oh, this car's factory, four-wheel drive. So if you look under that car, you think it's factory GTR. I've done everything seamless. I managed to cut out a front cut out of a GTS 4 from Jack Phillips and the floor pan. And then me and my dad got busy with the welder, grinders, hammers, plates.
So, PRP rear end, I assume?
The rear end in that is just GTR, factory GTR.
Factory GTR,
Yeah. The front is all factory GTR besides the knuckles and the Shockworks coilovers. Transfer case is standard, obviously the power glide.
Got a Quay front diff.
Yeah, the diff, I knew. So when I finished that car, I had driven a few high-powered GTRs that had standard diffs in the front. These things were savage. You'd come on power and they just rip you right, rip you left. I was like, oh shit, this is pretty hectic.
It's fun.
And then I launched my car one time, and it spun the back tires, but it spun one wheel at the front end, like really ripped me right. I go, nah. So we put a quave straight in. I didn't even hesitate. And now I launched the car recently.
Oh, we didn't see that, did
No, we didn't see
That was in Mexico.
That was
Did it in Mexico?
Definitely in Mexico.
Mind you, too.
Or as I called the park.
It was definitely called the park.
We'll throw the video up.
Yeah. So it's funny. A week prior to that video, I wanted to launch. I built up the courage. I got to launch this car. I've got this feeling. I got to do it. I went for a drive. I think it's only spinning the rears. I went to do a launch. It only spun the rears. Okay, what the hell? Anyway, the Atessa pump seized up. The day I built up the courage to go launch it, the Atessa pump
All
seized.
drive pump didn't
Is
work.
that like telling you something? Don't do it?
I go.
Pretty much.
The very next, through that week, I got an Atessa pump. I got it rebuilt. I rewired it because I pulled the wiring apart thinking maybe it was the wiring. And then that's how I figured it out. And then I finally got that launch out of my system the very next Friday at Calder Park.
So what do you? All we could tell the track was unprepped.
It was
Typical
unprepped.
Calder
Yeah.
track.
Typical
What do
Calder.
you reckon that would go in a 60 foot, like on a proper prep track? Maybe down at Sydney or something, downhill.
man.
Fuck,
but
We
you
know
know,
what we'd
account
like
for
it to
downhill
go,
slope.
but
You know what? I actually don't know. I feel like
Surely 1-1?
your experience would tell me that you know.
What's your opinion?
What do you
1-1?
think?
look, mate, we went that. I'd probably try and do a backflip.
Well, 1-1, 1-0. That's
Only
getting close to
because
pro mod, isn't
it's
Yeah, what pro modes go? They go 09.
yeah.
09, 1-0?
yeah.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
I think CK might have done a 1-1.
Yeah.
Or Nems
Look,
might have done
a 1-2 will probably be realistic.
Yeah, 1-2. You know, mate, anything in 1-2s, I think.
Just ridiculous.
With the
yeah.
power it makes, it should do what hopefully we want it to do, and then sort of
2.45 tire?
255.
2.55?
Yeah. I
Front
bought.
embryo?
Yeah. I bought 275s. They did not fit.
Yeah.
By miles.
And what made you go the whole Lightning McQueen thing?
My son, he was obsessed with cars like
Yeah.
before his second birthday. I'm like, you know what? Someone years ago, way before when, they photoshopped my car looking like McQueen, and I go, that looks sick. And then when my son got into it, I'm like, man,
surprised.
I'm gonna really do it. I go to my wife Janine. I go, you reckon I should do the McQueen livery? She goes, yeah, 100%. So I messaged my mate Mark at Sequoia Media.
Yes, yeah.
Mark Crawford.
Yeah.
He's got a, what has he got, a Berliner turbo?
Yeah.
VR?
Yeah.
That thing's nice.
He's got RX-4. He's got He's got a few cars.
Yeah.
He's the best car. That's what he got. And he goes, yeah, bro, that'll be mad. I'll do that for you. So he done it for me. I as soon as we done it, my son seen it, frothed out, and then everyone around us was loving it. They were loving it. But
It's
people,
cool to see. It's like you see a red 180S6, it's like, yeah. You see a red 180S6 with Lightning McQueen on it, yeah, fuck yeah.
yeah, bro, G'd up.
So whoever's got kids that likes cars, hit up Twister.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Speaking of that, I actually messaged you, and you said it's your son's birthday in May. I've got my, we're calling it Altona Shine. We're doing it in collaboration with a car club. I said, hey, can you bring the fucking 180? It would be sick. Because we're trying to organise like face paintings and other movie cars. We're getting
kids,
a
man,
Batmobile
love
tode. But yeah, obviously, if you've got
Come
your
for the
son's
kids,
birthday, you've
take
got your
dad
son's
down for a
birthday at the
drive.
end of the day. So
What's crazy, right, is we got Frank's son's second birthday, my son's third birthday, and then Michael de Blasi's turned 40.
gee,
Like, all
mate.
in the same weekend.
Mate, what?
May
18th.
I'm 16.
Oh, cool news, man.
So someone's
going
get.
Can I go for a ride
Bro,
with McQueen
I
as
don't
well?
care. Someone can take it. Just be careful and you can have it. I don't care. Yeah, bro.
That's nuts.
If it's for kids, man, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
So obviously pushing a big power car like that, the shop itself has held some records.
Quickly, before we go on that, I actually wanted to touch on maybe a controversial one. Was there a reason as to why you opted for a glide instead of a 400 in this, or even a sequential?
You have to answer that.
Me?
I listened to Frank on that one.
Look, man.
They reckon glide's always faster.
Yeah, at the time with the RB, we found that it works better with the glide.
Yep.
And speaking to Andrew Preston, who built the auto as well, we all sort of all came with the gear set that's in that car with the ratio, because obviously there's not many ratios being GTR. We found that this is what we worked, and obviously running Johnny's cars and other GTRs, again working off all that, going, I think we'll go this way, So
Yeah.
Keep your hand on the steering wheel.
well, yeah,
Yes.
that too.
Whoa.
That too. Hit it once and hold on.
Well, the theory behind it is when you got a turbo 400, it works extremely well when the car has a lot more weight. And I'd like to think that car,
Because you do see a lot more lighter weight cars with glides.
yeah,
So
yeah, of course. So obviously the converter's going to be working a lot harder, but like you said, you don't have to change gears as much.
It is pretty cool, but when GTRs go down the track at Sydney sequentials, and they're just like.
That's G'd up,
Yeah.
man. I love a
I'd
sequential.
love to have that. Like, I don't know.
That's a ride.
I'd love to feel it.
That's a ride. I've driven a few sequentials and they are a ride, man.
Well, before, like Troy was saying, like back in the day, but before we had the Quay front diffs, we had some 500 kilowatt GTRs here, manual ones. And as a driver, being the driver, the passengers are shitting themselves.
I've never been more scared in my life till this day when he took me for a drive in one of the first high-powered GTRs he ever done. It made like 530 kilowatt.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah,
It was just a 2.6 6870 precision turbo. Same thing you had on yours. I almost squealed at him saying, if you hit third gear, man,
Yeah.
I'm going to...
I went first and second, and I took a lot of people for a drive in that
was
car
insane.
who were guys who race, who don't usually get scared, and nobody let me go third.
I don't think people understand what it feels like to be in a 500 kilowatt GTR.
No, and when it puts
It's
it down,
insane.
yeah.
Because on the street, you get grip.
And it's stupid.
like you said, third gear just opens up.
When
Yeah.
you got
Yeah.
third gear, you're doing speeds, man.
Yeah.
Because second gear,
And down Mexico,
pretty
it's pretty
sure-
hard to.
Yeah, the
down
roads aren't very
Mexico,
good
you
in
You
Mexico.
don't have good roads.
The back road in Mexico, out where my hotel was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure third gear was like 250.
Yeah. Yeah, with the,
I wasn't really looking down much.
Yeah.
I was
Being
looking
2.6,
especially
you
with
can rev
9,000 RPM rev limiter,
I don't think I hit 9,000. I don't think I was that ballsy.
you backed out of it. Trust me, I'm the same, man. I'm not like I used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
talk about back in the day. I know one car personally you had, it was Chris's car, LSX JMH. I believe that ran an 850 and held the IRS record.
And that was a
for while.
VXSS.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
VXSS.
Yep. Yeah. That's 427 with a precision on it. Factory computer, e-boost,
Standard tail shaft.
standard tail
No.
shaft, rubber donut. Yeah, still on it. IRS, standard axles, AC Delco axles in it. Yeah, like.
Didn't you say you had better luck with the factory
We
axles
did, yeah,
over
yeah,
aftermarket at the
Yeah,
time?
yeah, because we had like the G-force axles and stuff, and all the factory stuff. Just, look, you needed to have a fuse, I guess, a weak link, but we never found it in that car. I think once it broke an axle, but I think the key to it, and multiple people will argue with me, but it worked for us on that car, was we never trans-braked it. It always was foot brake launched.
So we're talking 850 about 10 years ago off the foot brake.
Off the foot brake.
I believe the record still stands till today.
I think it's just been beaten.
Yeah.
I think I've seen something on Facebook, some guys in Sydney. There might have been some guys here. I haven't really been.
VX as well? Or?
VX or VY, IRS. I think it's got 820, but I think that's pretty good for all the technology we've got now. We
Compared
only
to back
310s
then,
back then.
Well,
We
I
had,
Nathan Mickliffe, which I believe
Yep.
you had something to do with that car as well. The car went to the garage works when Nathan had it.
yes, yeah. When Rika had it at one stage,
Yeah.
Bill was tuning it.
I think that might have gone to 860 or 870, maybe.
Maybe, yeah, I'm not sure.
Something
Not
about
sure.
that. I know that got close.
Yeah. Everyone was around there. Maybe it was a fluke. I don't know, but the car did it all weekend at Heathcote that time when it did it. The best it ever went mile an hour was 172, but I believe
That's
on the
moving, man.
860.
Even back then, yeah, it's like...
Yeah, I think the
Jesus.
172 was on an 880, I believe. I'm trying to remember. And the 850 was on, 168, I think it was. Probably went a bit of 60 foot or whatever, but there was no logging back then. It was do a pass, if it lasts, come back, pull a plug. Oh yeah, it's pretty good. Keep going, you know. So
And obviously you've had cars go quicker since then.
oh, of course, yeah. You know, people. You know, I've been lucky that I got a lot of customers that are happy to keep going. You know, I've
Just
been
happy
trying
to
to
keep
build my
pushing.
car for
Yeah,
16
man.
years, but
Well, drag race is more addictive than a lot of other things, and probably
Yeah.
a better habit to get into.
Yeah.
Well, if you're doing it on the track and not
Yeah.
in Mexico. But
yeah,
one car that would come to mind, and I think you mentioned earlier before our talk, it was is it Bob and Christian from Ascot? They've got the VN.
yeah.
That's probably
Vlad and
yeah,
Christian.
Vlad, sorry,
Yeah. They got the VN. Yeah,
Bob,
VN
that's
colour.
what everyone calls Christian.
Yeah.
That's why. Fuck
Yeah, it's so confusing.
I was like, hold on a minute. I was
That's his
like,
dad's fault,
I had to
mate.
think
That's his
about
dad's
that.
fault.
Yeah, so they've got the blue VN.
Yep.
Yep. So that's gone 760, was
It
it?
has now. Yep. That went 760 last year in Sydney.
So 770.
Yeah,
Amps
770.
debate about the track and
the surveyor over here.
downhill slope.
Downhill, so in 70, we'll call it 770.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's like 427. You know, basically, it's got a GDX 55 on it, 92 mil.
And that car was just built to have fun. It was
Yeah,
more
we
just
basically that car. Look, you know, it was always talk about he wanted to be the fastest that from the shop. You know, and we
It's funny,
achieved
you
that.
got the record of VN and you didn't even know at the
No,
time.
we didn't. Yeah, we didn't know.
Man, the quickest they
They had the quickest VN.
Yeah, we got
And
a
they
phone
didn't know.
call. We didn't even know that we had done it.
Well, CK had the quickest van, didn't he? That went 780 with the RB in it.
Yeah, I didn't even think of him. Yeah, but I think Jason Ellis One Power went 780 as well.
Oh, there you go.
Bro, it was crazy.
Yeah, we didn't even know. Like we went 770 well, first time we went to 7 was at Heathcote, and then yeah, we got it down to a 770, and then we thought, oh, let's load it up and go to Sydney because there was always a hype about Sydney being
Downhill.
the best track downhill. And look, it did go faster, but we also found a couple of limits that we hadn't seen at Heathcote at Sydney, which we rectified now, and we have been out, but we haven't put a pass down because we've been going to Heathcote and the track's quite not there at the moment. So
From a tuner's point of view, do you find a big difference from tuning your car down here, taking up to Sydney, and do you have to give it a tickle?
yeah,
Being
look,
up there?
the car's got a barrow gauge in it, and it's got a lot of wideband correction stuff that does a lot for you, right? I'm still a little bit old school, so I don't use all the closed loop as I should, but so I always like to tinker. But look, it does change. But as far as the track, well, we went to a street 20 prep when we went to 760, and I've never been to a track prep like that in my life. I lost both my shoes, my socks, everything
You
on
should
the
send
start
him
line.
the clip, Frank.
I've got a video of it.
Oh my God,
send
you'll
it to you.
laugh.
So, yeah,
Put it up.
yeah, it was in-car footage too. It was the first time the car had a GoPro in it, and it had to happen when I was guiding.
Caught
him,
everything.
So,
Caught everything.
so yeah, that was unbelievable, that prep.
But yeah, so that's definitely the quickest car you've had, like
Yes.
in the shop. But
Yeah, I believe
has it
that.
been the most power?
Most power would have to be Brendan and Josh's big block VL twin turbo.
Yep.
That was
That greeny turquoise
yeah,
colour.
turquoise
Yep.
one, yeah, twin turbo, yeah.
Did that win, what do you call it? Drag challenge?
Second, it came second. We
second.
almost won it. Yes,
Yeah.
we almost won it. Well, that was when the car PB'd. After drag challenge, they did the whole week, and then the last day at Calder, we turned it up, and it went 764, I believe. We turned it up one more time, and it started raining. So, yeah, we don't know if it was going to go faster or we were going to kill him because the car wasn't really set up to do that. But well, credit to Brendan, he held it flat. So
Hell of a driver, that guy.
we had to give him that, you know.
Talk about Brendan Sherry for people.
Yeah, he's probably got a big head now after me telling him that. But yeah, look, you know, I was on the tune up, I was on the logs, I could see what he was doing, and he never lifted. So, and the car crossed the line, not very straight. So
On VLs. So there's a VL behind me.
yeah,
With Allsparks number plates on it.
yeah,
What's
yeah.
the go there?
Yeah, that's one day. Yeah, been on a hoist for probably 16 years. You know, that was like all cars started off as meant to be a quick. It was meant to, I was building the car to do a PCM. You know, when PCM used to be around,
Yep.
and got carried away. Paint job, and then I think boys will probably correct me, but I think when I built it, I'm like, if it runs a 9, I'll be wrapped. And
Bro, if
yeah,
it doesn't run a 7, he won't be wrapped.
now it's gone to
Are you gonna pilot that yourself?
Yeah, that's the plan. Yeah, we'll see. If I get any older, I probably won't. I'm starting to lose the losing the balls to drive it. But nah,
Bit of
that's
surface rust going there now.
yeah. Yeah.
So that car actually touched the ground. It wasn't on a hoist when you had to move shots.
Yeah.
It's
So
not like
it's
you
had
moved the hoist with the
the
car
most
on
amount
it.
of work that car's had, apart from suspension and bodywork, is Andrew at Outrageous washing it.
Yeah, yeah. Quick little plug to
Yeah, that car's
Andrew
had more
Outrageous.
washes and it's had work on.
Andrew,
so
number 1.
Andrew,
What
yeah.
the wow.
It's got a 275X on it.
Yeah.
Bro, it's set up to go with 315, but if I can't make it work with 275, then
Tyres are already out of date, though.
yeah, I've got an M&M glide for it.
Cam.
Single cam, mate. Single jingle cast. Look, I believe I've done everything I can to
Turbo?
keep the engine. It's only got I shouldn't say only, but it's got just a GDX 45 compared to what they run on them now. But, I've always been a big believer in trying to get the turbo to run at its full efficiency. And if I can do that with that turbo, that should have enough power to run the 7 in that car. It's been done a million times now, but it's something that I've always wanted to do. And look, realistically now, I'm building it for my kids. So, it's for my boys, and that's it.
So that's got, by the looks of it, I'm just looking at it from here, is you got Kirkies in, you got the cage.
Yep.
Yeah, so it'll be set up for it, and you're going to street drive it if it's done.
That's what that's what I got. Anyone that knows me knows what I've always said. Basically, when I finish it and it runs a 7, it has to run it twice.
Yeah,
at
you
Heath
have
Pit.
to back
So
it up.
You've always got to back
I've
it
always
up.
said
Don't
that.
count.
So
The
yeah,
first
it runs
time fluke,
799 and 799. It's a 7-second car. I'll probably pull the chute off it, and that's about it. And
Leave the
put my
wing?
family in it and
take the wing off.
go for an ice cream at the beach.
Put the
That's what
boys
I've
in the
always
back.
said, and I think that's what I'll stick to.
And
I've
for
got the
those-
factory boot, so that's a race boot, and I've got the factory boot's paint. It's upstairs, so look, I could
and
but
for
that's the
those-
plan.
Yeah, and for those playing at home who don't know what car it is, it's red over silver. Calais, we'll throw up a photo of it, but yeah. So touching on first-gen Commodores that look like they're pretty fucking quick, this thing above me, I'm looking underneath, I'm looking at straight porn pretty much. So this is Brett Muscat's car.
Yes, it is. Yep.
Now, do you want to touch on it?
Yeah, well, that's another one. These
High
cars.
power as well, probably one of the higher ones on your.
Yeah, it looks
Actually,
it's
is
up there.
Is this one of your highest?
Top
5?
in LS.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Actually,
is now.
overall.
No, because Sherry's made just shy of 1800.
What fucking
Oh, wow.
But that was
tyre
big
has it
block.
got on it? Is that a 315?
It's got a 295, but that's just a street tyre. Again, this car's set up for a 275. X,
drag
which-
challenge car? This is going to be.
Well,
drag
yeah,
challenge?
Maybe.
it's a street car for him at the moment, so he drives it around.
That's why we
so-
just put a shit ton of work into making the exhaust come out the back.
Yeah, so literally, as we rocked up here to film the podcast, Troy was still fabricating and we were talking shit with Frank. So.
Man, I'm like rushing to get that tailpipe on so it looks complete. I need
Yeah.
to do the one more weld, and then we're sweet.
yeah,
But,
that's sick.
Yeah, so look, touching on the car, basically, starting from the front, it's got a Dart 440 cube. Block. Basically, it's got a set of Higgins LS7 6-bolt heads on it, custom solid camshaft in it. Built this engine.
Twin, what turbos are running?
It's got twin 42s on it, the compacts.
1450s.
14. Are they 14?
Yeah, 1450s.
Yeah, I thought they were 1250s.
No,
Back
1450,
glide?
yeah.
So a Glide, Preston Automatics, and then JR Fabrication did the rest of the car. So
Yeah, so full sheet metal and
So what
90
do
inch.
Yeah,
forward.
man.
Yeah.
so far on 24 pounds of boost through the zoomies on E85, it's made 1570
Fuck.
at the moment. And
Kilowatt or horsepower?
horsepower.
Oh, horsepower.
Sorry, mate. 1570 through
It's
the Glide. and
confusing. It's
90,
like, when do
yeah.
you do the transfer? You know?
Yeah.
So that was
Still,
24
what's that?
pounds.
That's 1,000.
1100, 1200 kilowatt?
Yeah.
Yeah, 12, something like that. So that's what it's made so far.
Still electric fuel pumps?
Yeah, it's still got 3 Warbros, no mechanical pump in it.
It's a serious car.
Yeah,
And
single set of injectors.
anyone that's watching the actual video will throw up a photo because you're going to see the quarter panel anyway in the shot. But
Yeah, so this
Yeah.
car will be the next one, hopefully, to go out and race. And
This is hands down the
When we
best
built this
sounding
car-
twin turbo LS I've ever heard.
oh, it's awesome.
yeah,
You've heard it?
I've heard
Oh my-
it start up. I haven't really hear him give it or nothing. I
Yeah.
haven't
My
seen
God,
anything.
it's
yeah.
like
It's got old school sound to it. The
I'm RB
camshaft
all
we've
the
used
way,
in
but-
and
Yeah,
the comp and everything. It works, man. Like
100%.
While we're
Yeah.
talking on shop cars,
Yeah.
looking at this thing next to me, people probably know what question's going to come next.
Yeah.
It's a 33 GTR.
Yeah.
Dog shit.
Unfortunately, it's not a GTR.
I
gotta pull the pin on you there.
Anyway,
Really
what
got
next question
clickbaited.
be?
Yes.
32 or 33 GTR? Frank.
32.
32?
Yeah.
I have to go 32, man.
32.
Yeah.
Like that's
Perfect.
everything. The Bathurst.
For me, yeah, that's exactly right. Bathurst. That's where I first saw him, and
So
they
likes
dominated.
and ladies then will be Kim Kardashian over Paris Hilton.
Oh, Kim Kardashian. Huh?
Yeah, Kim Kardashian.
Comparing Dua
Nah,
Lipa
my
to
wife.
fucking Billie
Your
Eilish.
My wife.
the wife first.
My wife,
the wife
Catherine.
first. Yeah.
So yeah, like this VK, it's phenomenal. Like you look underneath, man, you almost want to like eat off the fab work. Like that's how nice it is.
Yeah, no, he's done
Troy's fab work, that is.
Oh, all I'd done on this car was the exhaust so far, but the only thing, what did I do? I just plumbed it
Yeah.
and the exhaust.
Yeah.
The rest of it's JR, really.
Yeah, Johnny's
Yeah.
done a good job
But
on
yeah,
it.
credit to everyone involved. Obviously, you boys as well, man. It's a awesome car. I can't wait
Yeah.
to see it out on the
Team
street.
effort,
Just
mate. Team
That's
effort.
what it
team
is.
effort.
Exactly, team effort.
cruising. And then, like even like we touched on Andrew before, he's given the lick over the paint. He's made it all nice as well from what it is, you know. And even underneath, like I shot this car when it was in his shop before it had the welds on it. It had Simmons on it.
Yeah.
Totally changed the look of the car.
Oh,
That's like having TEs on your car and switching to the drag wheels. Like
Yeah, man.
game changer. Yeah.
Yes.
So little shout out to Andrew. He does all your cars, a lot of your customers
Yep.
stuff.
Yep.
Like I'm talking cars like Ice Spool.
Yeah.
Like you know he's done your cars. He's done
Yeah,
your
I got to
180.
shout him out too, man. If he didn't do what he did to that car, I washed it yesterday. I didn't even have to use soap. Frank's on my ass about cleaning this car. I hosed it and chamoised it, and everyone can't. They freaking out like, wow, that thing is extremely clean.
Yeah.
Because
Been here for a few weeks and it was looking pink, not
it,
red.
it was legit dust.
Two
and
tone.
he's the best. He's number
Attention to
one.
detail, and yeah,
Another
he's just a
car you
weapon.
mentioned, Ice Ball. There's
Ice-
another one.
No,
Oh,
40s, yeah.
That's
yeah.
your neighbour, isn't it?
Yeah, he's my best mate. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
my neighbour now. Yeah,
That's
so,
a GDO Monaro.
Yeah,
I love.
That's been around for years.
Yeah, that car.
That's a rig, that thing.
Yeah, that's a fun car. So that's just, mate. It started as, well, we started talking about doing a turbo kit on his VX Clubby, blue one, and then he upgraded to the GDO, and we ended up building the LSX motor for it, so 433 cube. That's got an old Garrett G55, GDX, not even GDX, GT55 on it.
Casty.
Yeah, single casty, but man, it does the job. Look, it makes, well, I think it makes just under 1100 at the tyres on 20 pounds of boost. It's too much. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
No, it's
I know
awesome.
we've got all
Is
these
it on
things, but that
20s?
car, it's
Yeah.
on
Yeah,
20.
It's,
It's got
it's
like
on
a-
the six
On the
still.
six,
Yeah.
Man,
Probably
I
Us
was,
streeters, the freeway was just
Yeah,
in
it
Mexico.
just, that's all it does.
Mexico.
Every time it
It
comes
was
off,
just
yeah, in
train tracks.
Mexico, it just, that's all it does, bushfires every time you hit the
Yeah,
accelerator.
Talking about Mexico, you were lucky enough to deal with 1320 when they come
Yeah,
up. That was
yeah.
actually a really...
that was Jada.
Yeah, that was actually a crazy phone call. We were actually just closing up with my old shop, and I got a phone call from Arthur from Tuner's Edge, and he goes, "Yeah, look, I've got the guys there that want to come and see some cars, and you know, you've always got cars." I'm like, "Yeah, come down." I had 45 minutes to made a few phone calls, got a couple of boys down, and cars that we had at the shop, and yeah, met Kyle, awesome guy, mate, one of us, which was great. You know, we thought he was going to be stuck up, but we had a
he's
good
like
old
really
talk to
humble
him.
from what I've heard. Like he's just like, as you see him on camera,
Just
that's how he is
exactly,
in
man.
person.
Yeah,
like us,
just a
just
normal
loves
guy,
cars.
man.
Just loves cars,
Yeah.
passionate.
And yeah, we took him for a spin, a couple of Aussie stuff, and yeah, I think we freaked him out. So yeah, but no, it was good. Yeah, we did the 1320 thing, and that blew up. And
Oh, dude, that was nuts. I reckon that's just if you were part of that, that would have been an experience and a half.
oh, it was, man. Like
Watched about 6 times already.
Oh, dude, I can't even count how many times I've watched that. Like
Yeah.
that video came out when I was 12. Keep in mind, yeah, that's how long ago we're talking.
now you're really making me feel.
Solid,
now you're
what,
making
10
me feel
years ago now,
old,
I
mate.
reckon that was?
Yeah,
Oh,
probably.
coming
yeah.
to it. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it was-
you had like cars that come to mind in that video.
Yeah.
Like we had Ice Spool. I think there was a GDR and a Corvette in the
Yeah.
shop.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you had a
twin turbo.
C5 in the.
We had a
Yeah,
C5
Didn't
twin
he freak out
turbo.
that you had that there?
Yeah, well, he's got one at the time, so he
Yeah.
was freaking about the indicators, because the indicators in America, there isn't. They're both red.
Yeah, they were orange,
exactly.
weren't
And
they?
then you
And
had
then
the
here.
blue FGU as well.
Yeah,
Oh,
Alias,
yeah,
God bless.
Alias.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's no longer with us, but
Yep,
yeah, that car was that was a pretty, well, at the time was a pretty heavy hitter.
Yeah,
You know, that
100%.
car, we went 880 in that car.
Is that still around, that car?
I'm not sure if his mum and dad have
Yeah,
still
we
kept
don't
the
know. We don't
car.
know.
The car got stripped before he passed. And yeah, like the engines, I think Anthony's got that, Horsey's got that.
It's in his BF. His new BF.
I'm not sure what happened. I always keep an eye out to see if the car's for sale, because it was probably the fastest barrow we had done at the time. and we were really close, you know, and it just unfortunately.
Yeah, like you
On
said,
touching
condolences. So.
Things, obviously, you've had a beautiful run with your shop and touching your family and all that. And unfortunately, there's a bit of a health scare that people may know of but don't know the exact answer to. If that's something that you might.
Yeah. Look, you know, obviously we all remember COVID, and I guess I was one of the lucky ones, I can say, because I'm still here. So, mate, just got COVID like everyone else did. Not sure what strand I got, but I ended up in a coma for just over a month, and then had to really basically start from fresh. So I couldn't talk, I couldn't walk. Man, it was
Scary.
difficult time.
And the shop was closed for about 4 months.
4 months, yeah. You
Wow,
know,
was that long?
yeah, it was.
Wow.
Yeah, it was October. I still remember 5th of October. I think I went into hospital. I woke up early November, and I got out of hospital on my birthday. So,
And kudos to you, because a lot of people would go for that. I reckon would give up and look what you've got.
yeah.
Yeah.
Look, it stopped doing the. I think we touched base on the late nights that I used to do and early mornings. I try and run it like a business now, you know, and be here at, look, even if it starts at 6, but try and be home by 5 and spend time with the family. And the body I never recovered exactly back to what I was, but good enough to keep doing what I do. You know, I get tired quick, and, for somebody who's never smoked, I've got permanent scarring on my lungs and, all the stuff that comes with that crap COVID, but I'm here, and everyone that was behind me and all the support from my. Sorry, I'm trying not to get emotional. So, sorry. Everyone that supported my family. I thank you guys, because it's what pushed me to keep going, and now we've got this, and keep trying to push the envelope and go faster, but also enjoy life, because you don't know when it
all
can be
about,
taken
man.
away from you, so
That's literally why we're here.
it's
all-
3
it's
years
all
on
God's
and it still
plan,
scars me, but look, we're good, I'm lucky, I'm very lucky. People say, oh, you're so strong, but you know what, I was in a coma. It felt like I had a nap on the couch, realistically, when I woke up, that's a scary part. So, but I'm good now, I've got my family, we're strong, I've got my friends, I've got my family at work, and, all my great clients and people that support us, and that's what it's about for us now, So, I hate that I don't go to the track as much as that I used to. It's just hard, with the business and my family. That's it, I choose my family over business now, and, I still love what I do, but, there's a time and a place now, so.
Oh, well, thanks for sharing something
No,
that
no
personal
worries,
with
guys.
us. We don't often get that.
Yeah.
Thank
So on that,
Nice.
where do we see Allsparks in 10 years' time? What
5 years, I reckon we go 5, 10.
Go 5 years, 10 years?
Look, man, hopefully I have the VL finished, and I'll be able to be out there
The main goal is
racing my
just
own
the,
car,
How much of is it a Becker Street?
Yeah.
How much of a Becker Street we're going to go down?
Yeah, well, hopefully this is it, mate. This is it, hopefully. So,
Hopefully VL's done by the time we get to the end.
yeah, exactly. So,
I've been pushing him for a long time, and I've got to the point now where I just leave it alone now.
Who's down the end? Troy, TCO?
Nah, he used to be
he's
there.
moved.
He's,
Oh, he's moved
yeah,
as
he's a
well.
couple of
Moved,
streets
yeah.
now. So, but look, just keep pushing. That's what we've got to do, because otherwise you get left behind in this trade. So, keep pushing, keep being honest, doing the right thing by people, and that's what's kept me in business for so long. That's
honesty is number one. If
know.
I was going to throw anything out there,
that's what's
just
always
be
kept us
honest and
going.
be
man.
humble. That's
Things
it.
happen, things break, but where I can, control it is the car will not leave until it's right. And people will kick and scream because they want their car back, but once
it
it's
is what
done
it
and
is.
it's right, that's the best reward. So what we find anyways, being the mechanics.
Yeah.
So
Nice. Anything else on that?
Oh, well, we've talked about 1320, his car, fast cars that we've had.
Yeah.
Man, I don't even know what's to talk about next. Like, what's to come? We've got some plans in the future you want to touch on? Maybe some cars that are coming in?
well, I want to obviously
Even some recent builds. Like, what's some recent stuff that's come through the shop that's really,
well,
like,
I think the latest one we just finished was Rob's VN.
Yeah, what a car.
That was that was a front to back build on that
That's
car.
that silver Calais.
No, that was a white VN B2.
White
It looks
VN.
like
Oh,
Andrew's
sorry.
one.
Is that the 355
Yes,
Yeah,
one that you
exactly.
just finished on the
Exactly,
dyno?
yeah,
Very
that car
similar to Andrew's.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
People
yeah,
actually
so-
thought it was Andrew.
was
Yeah,
Andrew's,
I seen
yeah.
it. I was like, hold on a minute. I was like, wait,
Yeah.
oh shit.
Nah,
Yeah.
this
Beautiful
car
car, that,
is
like
like how you do a van.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was no expense spared. You know,
The 355.
355.
They gave
flow
us full
path
range.
engine, I'm pretty
You guys
sure
do
it
what-
was, or-
Just I want it amazing.
Yeah.
I want the bay, just motor.
Yeah.
Do whatever you got to do.
Just
Yeah.
Bluetooth the motor in.
Literally, that's what he
Basically,
said. He goes, I don't care.
I
Just
think that's the word to use.
I want it to be nothing in the bay
Just
but the
airdrop
motor.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we airdropped it, and it was. I have to say,
Yeah.
it took a lot of hours, but it came out beautiful.
Yeah, and another car that comes to mind that's had a similar setup done is Chris Knight. He's got the VPSS.
Yep.
That was previously a Whipple blower.
It was,
and then
yes.
he's gone now to a Harrop.
To the Harrop, yeah,
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 so-
exactly right.
Because
So-
that's who I bumped into. I went to the Sunbury Show and Shine.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
got
I
the
seen
VP,
him, and I was talking to a guy. He's got a silver Van Bellina next to him as
Oh, yeah.
well, and
Yeah,
then
he's
that
mate,
silver
yeah.
Calais was next to him too.
Yeah.
So it was like all the VN VPs next to each other.
Yeah.
I was the first time I ever met Chris. I've always
Yeah.
chat to him online.
Yeah.
'Cause Me and my
Yeah.
old man, we used to have a VPSS.
Oh, wow.
We
Yeah.
got rid of it just over a year ago now, but yeah, I've always seen his car in the build. I knew it was always at Allsparks. And
Yeah.
I'm like, it'd be cool to see this thing up close in person. I stumbled across. I'm like, fuck, this is Chris's car.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's got the Harrop blower. He's
Yeah.
got I just knew it straight away.
Yeah.
So it was good to talk and touch base about that car. And
Yeah.
we were just talking about that van that was on the dyno.
Yeah.
'Cause it was, I think, literally the day before Good Friday. Because at the time we're filming this, it's Anzac
'cause
Day
it's been
tomorrow.
done.
So,
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
but
so it was.
killer cars. Yeah.
Yeah, no, look, it's not every day you get because everything's LS these days, and
Yeah.
You just can't
Um,
beat the sound of
but
the
yeah,
iron
look,
line,
that thing
mate.
come up awesome, man.
But it also shows you do not just one specific thing. Because
No.
you might go to some shots, like, they specialise in only Barra.
Yeah.
They do only fucking
Yeah.
LS.
Well, that was one
They-
thing when
yeah.
I
We
opened the
do
shop,
anything,
and we.
yeah. Whatever you
And
want.
I guess you put performance to it. There wasn't performance specialized. It was performance. We do everything.
Yeah.
You know, obviously, we are starting to get into Euro stuff. We haven't really done a lot with them yet. But yeah, well.
Well,
you
it's
know.
like just taking a look in the shop, and like
Yeah.
most shops you might come to, you'll be like, oh, we're gonna move cars around to like fit your couch in and stuff
Yeah.
like that. As we look at the shop now, is how it was operating pretty much. So,
yeah, pretty much.
like
yeah.
we've got 2J, RB, LS, RB, LS,
Yeah.
and like and
there's a
RB here on the
blown,
dyno.
There's a blown GDO in there.
Oh, true, yeah. So it's like
Yeah.
you got variety in here.
Yeah.
You might come here next week, there'll be a Barra in here.
No,
and then,
literally, that's exactly
so
right.
Yeah.
That's
There's
how it is.
always variety. It's
Yeah,
not like
exactly.
you walk
It
into
keeps
one
us
shop.
on our toes as mechanics as well.
Yeah.
You're not just always doing the same thing, because
Yeah,
then
you
it just
get bored.
basically becomes a dealership. So,
Yeah.
And the old hashtag phrase.
Take it to free.
Yeah.
Hashtag take it to phrase.
yeah, well, that started PCM days. So.
Did Andrew make that?
No, that
No?
was Jamie Zarafi.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, he started it, and then pretty sure he started it, and then it took off. Now it's on our t-shirts and everything.
Yeah.
I got the latest
So
one.
this is how it
First
starts.
one I've had.
Yeah,
Just one
so-
catchphrase and that's it. Game over.
yeah, exactly. So
But yeah, so from GDRs to fucking 180s. Well, like you said, you've done everything from SRs to LSs. So any significant cars that maybe something that not everyone's done. Ticked
Or
off your
something that
bucket
catches
list.
you up. Like favourite car you've worked on, or your favourite shop car. that's-
Like for example, you might have done a Dodge Viper. No one's done a Dodge Viper
Yeah.
before. Like you know what I'm saying?
look, back in the day, I used to do everything, man. Like I remember. Geez, what did we do?
You're doing a lot of carby stuff.
Yeah, I do
Which
do a lot of
is
carbon.
kind
But
of-
you started
I do a lot of
before
carbon.
all the EFI stuff started.
Yeah, so a
kicking
lot
in.
of my, I guess, people that taught me, my teachers and stuff, they were all carby guys. So I kept that a lot because that helps me heaps here. Because basically, EFIs, look, at the end of the day, an engine's an engine. Whether it's EFIs, carby, sort of be tuned the same way. But, there's things in carbies that a lot of people don't know that
Oh,
you can make
blows
it
my
spot on,
mind.
And like Troy's done a bit of tuning now, and he knows how things work. And when I show him how carbies work,
Carby's
it
strange
blows
to
his
me.
mind. So,
Yeah.
Because it's just mechanical.
Did you
Yeah.
see someone pour tranny fluid down a carby? There was a video going on Facebook. Is there a reason why they do that?
I
to
haven't-
lube up stuff maybe, but
Oh, no,
Oh.
it used to be. So
or maybe done the carby to lube the boards or something. I don't know.
I don't know.
Man.
Try it tomorrow.
Yeah, have you got a carby?
Put it down your
Nah.
cab.
Nah.
Something else up.
Well, touching on Troy doing some tuning, you had the 31 wagon. Like that was the first car you probably learned to tune on.
Yeah,
wasn't it? Or front to back, like a whole.
Yeah,
tune,
well, it was, yeah. I bought my own little wagon And you said it was your friend.
Yeah, so that was my mate Seb's car. Front up a full granny spec wagon, and you've just turned it absolutely not from that. Max Peating rods, HPs, just sent it. 3076 was it?
Yeah, 3076. My boss at the time at Project, he had a turbo. He actually had a turbo and a manifold sitting there for a 30. And I bought this wagon, and I put on Facebook, anyone got a wagon for sale? And then Andrew at Boost and Tune goes, oh, my old apprentice has this wagon. I messaged him. He goes, oh, yeah, I got the wagon. I go, what's your price? Tells me the price. I go, look, I'm Maltese, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna lowball it.
If you can get it for cheaper, you'll
I
get
go,
it for cheaper.
listen. I go, tell me to get lost. Would you take this? And he goes, you know what? Come get it. I sent Casey, who's now with
RPM
RPM.
towing storage.
I go, here's the money. Just go pick. I didn't even look at this thing. And
Just pick it up.
When I rocked up, I go, wow, this car's Mac.
Yeah.
Bro, it looked brand new.
He looked after that thing.
Oh my God, I was blown away. Like, this car was immaculate. I can't even remember what I paid for. I think I paid like $3,500. I was like, what a car.
Yeah.
And then it was even registered. He goes, you just keep the reg, I don't care. And then Sean goes, I got all these parts. I go, sweet. I'll come in early because I had my little one at the time. So after work was for the kids. I'm like, you know what? Just go in early. I do the same thing here. I come in early if I've got to do something. Turbo kit, and then got my mate Logan Speed Shop. He come and patched in a Elite 750.
Yep. They actually just did one at Andrews. Actually, I seen
Yeah.
they did the Red 30. They have a Red
Actually, I
30
just
one
saw
there.
that. Yeah.
And Logan did patch Williams at haltech
Yeah,
750.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
same thing as yours. I was just like, wait a minute, that sounds familiar.
No, patched in
Yeah.
a 750. And I've learned a lot through Frank over the years because if I've ever had a problem, Frank, I've got this problem, blah blah blah, and then we had a
Mentoring in
tuner
way.
at Project where he would do everything, but then he left, and then we had a lot of cars. I'm like, crap, I gotta learn quick because I need to do this stuff. And then Frank would teach me a lot, and then I just started doing my own thing. You're learning, blah 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 blah. Then this 31 come up. I really want to get into this because I had the dyno to me. I had a four-wheel drive dyno available. So then I just went full bore and
Just went nuts.
I went nuts. Blew up my first engine. Took a little while. Made a big mistake, but
And that was that engine in that car?
yeah, it was my own car, so big deal.
Yeah, exactly.
I rebuilt a motor and put it back in and full tuned it. Did 300 kilowatt, 98 through the factory auto after 3 autos. Learned how to drive it to stop blowing
Like we
them up.
said, it's like prolonging the engine blowing up just by blowing up the jack hose
Exactly
instead.
right,
So
It,
2-speed jacker.
I think Frank actually, it's funny because I think Frank taught me how to drive. He goes,
Two-speed
don't
jack.
let it change gears on its own because you'll blow it up. He goes, let it change gears and then step back on it.
Oh, that's what. Yeah, my old Jacko, he's like, dun, dun. You take your foot off the exhaust.
Yeah.
And then you
Don't let it change gears while killing it.
Okay.
Zap,
You're gonna come off it.
but- and then I managed to keep the stock one alive. And then got involved in that. And built a motor. I don't know. I love that car. Put an LSD in it. Put Viking shocks in it. Cut the springs in the back. Just
I
bring it
gave
level.
him a heap of shit because he had this thing that makes a heap of power and he used to froth the filter.
I don't care what anyone says, and I'm going to say this. When something is cheap and then it performs,
And it's fun.
it's 10 times more fun than when you spend $1 zillion on a car because you expect that car has to do that now.
Yeah, but it's probably the care factor as well. If I go spend $1,000 on a car or $100 grand on a car,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
of course.
rate that for $1,000.
That's right.
Yeah.
You get more enjoyment, but I don't understand from the mechanic point of view. Like me, Frank, we all do it. Even you guys are doing it. You put a shitload of money into a car. I don't know why you do it. And then you're like, oh, now I feel funny about killing it. But hang on, you spent all that money to kill it.
Yeah.
What was our convo? I don't think I'm gonna race my car.
Yeah, literally on the way here, it was like, I don't think I'm gonna race my car. Like, what are you, a bitch? Like,
You know what? If I was well off, I wouldn't be caring about that. I don't know why I went out. I feel like every performance mechanic who wants to build a car, they always have to build this high level car once, and then they realise.
it's not all about
I like cheap bangers. Like back in the day, man, $5,000 drift car was the best.
Hey, talk about. Do you remember when we used to go to S-Benz and I had my Commodore?
Of course.
In Mexico.
Do you remember my Commodore?
Yeah, S-Benz in Mexico.
Wait, you had a...
Let's see if you remember. That VY.
Was it black?
Nah, it was a dark green. I remember we were at S-Benz one night, and or I'll show in the video something like that. And I come through and I linked S-Benz in this Commodore single peg up, and you're like, That's not right, man.
Yeah, that sounds like me.
Yeah.
That was what a rig. That was mad down there, man. I miss that's
Way before my time.
bro. We had so much fun.
Oh,
Like,
beginner's roundabout, Australia's drive,
oh yeah,
Dynasty,
man, I remember all of it.
four corners.
Four corners, yeah. My favourite, I think, was Australia's Drive,
Yeah.
the long track.
Yeah.
Most,
From court to court.
yeah, most of the guys will remember.
Finish tuning the cars and you'd all be meeting up at the shop to go.
Oh
What
man,
about the old Wednesday night meetups at
yeah,
McDonald's
man.
on the ring
Yeah.
road?
What was it? Not inbound, outbound.
Outbound Macca's. Yep.
Yeah, and then the first one we used to go to was Spence, I think,
Yep.
and we make ourselves to Australia's Drive, and then we go. What was the one here in Tulla? I can't remember.
Lambic?
Nah.
It's off Lambeck.
Yeah.
Fishbowl.
No, not Fishbowl. What do we call it? Stadium.
That's
We
right.
called it a stadium. Oh, that was the best fun.
Who came up with the names?
I don't know. I think it was like the OGs, like Shamal and whatnot. Their
Ah,
mates, they come up with it.
Shamal's still around.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's got a veil now.
yeah. He's
Yeah.
had the veil for bloody
Yeah.
decades now. He's had a little one, so he's quieting down too, like we all do.
Jeez, we've touched on a bit of drifting. It's funny
Yeah.
tonight. It's pretty good.
That's
So
where
we come in
it
here
started.
preparing to talk about a lot of drag racing stuff.
If people don't know, he started his life in drifting.
Oh, well,
Oh,
we might
yeah.
as well. This is the longest podcast we've done.
100%. But now I'm going to end up cutting some shit, so yeah.
So you
Yeah.
started off in drifting.
Yeah,
Had a
I
180?
built I built a drift car.
Best engine in the world, wasn't it?
A little CA18 1.8, 168 kilowatts of fury, and I think I had that for 3 years. Wednesday night drifts, I used to take it out and take all the boys and had a ball. Did a couple of comps in it. I think Troy was just starting to drift then when I was drifting.
No, when I started drifting, I think you were getting out of it.
Yeah, because I basically sold it as I got married. So
Yeah, and you just, I didn't know this until later on in life that was when you got your dyno.
yeah. Well, that's basically that. Yeah, you're right. So,
It's funny how we all kind of, or not all, because I'm not really a drag racer or a drifter. I never had a drift car, but it's
Yeah.
funny how it somehow all led
Yeah.
from that. Like I remember, is it Daniel and Anthony who you worked at PP with?
Yeah.
He had the white 32.
Yeah, you know he still got that car?
No, 32 or 33?
32. 32.
32.
Yeah.
The Y32
I've been
with
in
a
that.
big, really?
Yes, I went in that. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
Wow.
yeah.
A lot of people went in
when
that
he was
car.
drifting in the street, and his brother Anth had the S13.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He drifted. He used to drift the
Yeah,
street.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and they call him Mini.
yeah.
Yeah, he had that's I met him on the street in NAS 13.
That's where I met
Everyone.
Daniel on the street.
Yeah, wow. I met Daniel through
Well, Daniel
Mini
worked
because
there.
Mini actually painted that, and that's still the same paint from 10 years ago,
Jesus.
10 or 12 years ago.
That'd be more than, I would have been 18. I'm 31 now. We're talking about 12 years ago.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I wouldn't have even known this shit existed, yeah? So,
You were playing bloody Nintendo. Actually, no, you would have been
Nintendo
playing
for me, it was-
PS5.
It was Gran Turismo. It was either Gran Turismo on the PS2 or it was Need for Speed Carbon. It was one of them two. But
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
shit.
then that's it.
I reckon let's wrap it up, boys. So, Troy, thank you very much.
No
Frank,
worries.
thank you very much. We touched
Thank
on a
you.
lot of good topics, a lot of hot topics.
Man, you
and
could
yeah,
speak
just-
for hours. I didn't
Oh,
realize.
dude, we could speak forever. And yeah, just a good insight into what Allsparks was and how it's become. So, man, I'm good, like keen to, keep in contact. We'll see how we're going. We might pop in for a vlog one day, me and F, and, just come have a look at the shop.
Yeah,
see
definitely.
how things are going. Hopefully, maybe see some progress on the Red Valley.
Yeah,
in the
be
corner.
nice.
So,
Might actually interview me when I'm out of one of your shows one day, mate.
yeah, oh, there you go. Well, maybe a Val cruise in future. So,
Yeah.
done.
It's on the
All right.
cards.
Yeah, anyone got any questions, don't be afraid to come in and speak to Frank and the boys. And
Yeah.
thanks for coming on as well from
Yeah,
me.
and if you're still watching once you've got to this shit point in the video, let us know in the DMs or, on the comments. Who do you want next on the podcast? We've got our next guest coming up. He's actually another interstate guest, so stay tuned. And, yeah, we'll catch us in the next one. This is the end of episode 6. See yous.